Hey, what's up? Good morning, Joe in Vegas here. Midweek review. I normally like to keep all my shenanigans. Is that the right word? People still use that word, shenanigans for the weekend. But when duty calls, duty calls. Aerosmith had their opening night last night at their residency here in Las Vegas at the Park MGM. I believe it's one of those residencies that was canceled because of COVID. So it's great to see these things start coming back. It's a real sign that we're just about back to normal. There were some things I'll get into that were still COVID related, which I was surprised. And it might help the next person if you're watching this video. So I was going to go this weekend, and I was looking at the tickets yesterday, and this is the main reason I went. Aerosmith, I've never seen any other band do this. So for this residency, they actually sell tickets on the side of the stage. So, when you go to a concert and you see off into the speakers, like a family member or an agent or just people standing there watching from the side that are clearly with the band, they sell those. I think direct through Ticketmaster, there's two levels. So when you go, there's a side thing where there's a railing and there's like a little bit of general admission, maybe 3 or 4 rows deep. And then right behind that, again, on the side of the stage, there's a little rafters that goes up with about 4 rows of seats. So you're still on the side of the stage, but you have seats that are elevated. I think the general admission ones go for like $300 or $400, and I think the elevated ones go for like $500 to $700. I think that was the vibe. I went yesterday. I was in StubHub a few hours for the show, and I saw a side seat for $180. So it was cheaper than the freaking seats up in the top of the theater. So I just said, "Wow, this is a great. I'm going to grab it. Screw it, we're going to grab it." I went solo. I rarely go solo to shows. I went by myself. I just wanted to go enjoy the music and come home on a school night. So here's my take on these side seats. It's really cool. You feel awesome. You get a lanyard. You get to go up with a VIP escort. You go up a little side staircase, the same staircase that an artist would come down. You literally go into the theater and you go up the stairs like you're going on a stage, and you cut left, and boom, you're in this little VIP area. There's a little bar there. There's a couple pinball machines. You feel cool. And you are literally on the side of the stage. Like right in front of you is the keyboard player, the drummer. You're right there. You're in the thick of it. The problem is, unless you're the first person there and you're on the rail, you're kind of set back a little bit. So if you're in general admission in the front, like for a normal concert, at least you're facing them. So at least he's singing to you, the crowd. So even though you might be a couple rows deep and you have a hard time seeing and you're kind of turning your head, which is what I don't like so much about general admission, at least you're facing him. Here's the double whammy. The coolness of being on the side of the stage kind of goes away because his back or his side is facing you for 90% of the show. And it does take away a little bit from it. Now, if you're not the first person there, you're 3 or 4 rows deep, and you're looking at his back or his side the whole time. It's not that good. It's not. It's weird. If you've seen the show before, it's probably cool to do because it's just a new experience. It's something interesting to experience if you can get a good deal on them. So what happened with me was a couple songs in, I was getting annoyed because I really just couldn't see that well. And you also feel disconnected. I like to connect. It's like plugging in power. When I go to a show, I like to plug in the power, connect with the artist, connect with the band, drink enough alcohol to get me to that point where I'm not thinking about fucking Donald Trump. I'm not thinking about politics or stock market or finances or work or anything. It's like the Zen moment when you know you hit it and you're just in your little bubble world, and it's great. And that's what keeps me going all these shows. So it's hard to connect when you're staring at the side of his head or the back of him half the time. So I was getting a little annoyed. I wasn't sure what to do, and I kind of turned around, and the guard who was guarding those rafters to go up, those 3 or 4 rows, and half of those were empty, was kind of asleep. And the second he turned his head, I just snuck up into those seats. Those seats were great. Those seats, being at a higher angle, he's not turned to you. I'm sorry, his back is not turned to you a lot. You have more of a wider angle. So if you want to have that side stage experience, my advice to you would be pay a little extra. Get those rafter seats, the VIP seating on the side of the stage. I think you'll be much, much happier. Or make sure you get there early and get on the railing. And that's it. So that's my advice about the seating. I know I'm 4 minutes in already. But if you are interested in that VIP seating, that's the way to do it. And Dolby Theater as a whole, I don't like it. I don't like the way it's shaped. If you're gonna go to a show, you're better off going one or two levels up and being in the middle than being in the first level off to the right or left. The way that stage is shaped, it's like a bow. And if you're off to the right too much, you might be in the second row, but you're so off to the left, you don't have a good angle. The guy. My advice: if you're gonna buy tickets at Dolby, stay in the middle. Go one or two sections up. Anyway, but we were there for the music. We were there for Aerosmith, probably one of the greatest. I mean, top 10 for sure rock bands of all time. Steven Tyler, one of the best frontmen, if not the best frontman of all time. Joe Perry, unbelievable guitarist, one of the best of all time. They have everything. They have. I saw Motley Crue last week. I told the story, these rock and roll stories. They're one of these rock and roll band with a crazy story of drugs and alcohol and crashing and burning and coming back and just getting bigger than they ever were. And it's the same thing. They have the personalities, they have the look, and then they have the music to back it up, and that's what separates the good from the great from the good, is having decades. I think they're 50 years. I don't, definitely 40. They might be closing in on 50. Fuck, man. Crazy. That's so long to be doing this, especially at their level. But they have the music to back it up, and when you hear these songs that they wrote so long ago, and they're still so good and hold up so good, how can you not love them? So let me get into this. Listen, I wish, look in here, it's 17 songs. They did 17 songs. They can't play they could play everything, but it's going to be a 2.5 hour show, which, listen, other bands do it. Guns N' Roses does it, Metallica does it, but they don't. They don't. So that would be my only complaint, is that you can't get everything in, but you can't complain because it's all hits. They start, and they mix it up all decades. They start with Back in the Saddle, great song. Same Old Song and Dance, great song. Ragdoll, Crying, Love in an Elevator. These are the parts that bother me. When you're only doing 17 songs and you have about 30 hits, to do covers, it just bothers me. It always bothers me. If you listen to my reviews, you'll see. They did Remember, Walking in the Sand, the Shangri-La's cover. Then they did Stop Messing Around, Fleetwood Mac cover. Don't know why. I don't know why you can't do, any of the songs. There's millions of songs they didn't play. I don't know why they can't do that. Hangman Jury, great song. Seasons of Wither, great song. Toys in the Attic, great song. Living on the Edge, they're all great songs. The Other Side, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Sweet Emotion, Dude Looks Like a Lady. They go out, come back for the encore, and they close out with Dream On, which he does on a piano in the center stage, and then they close out with Walk This Way, also one of their biggest. He definitely was having audio problems. Again, being that close to the stage, maybe I saw it more than most. There was a lot of screaming to the back. There were a lot of songs where he sounded a little bit off. I think it was audio. I don't think it was him. He made a couple quick comments about, wow, we're really live tonight, meaning like he had to rely on his voice, which is fine. His voice is fine. It's not like Vince Neil, who, if something was going on and he had to sing completely without backing or anything, he'd be in big trouble. Steven's the best, man. He's the best. At his age, he looks good. They all look good. Even Joe Perry. There was a moment there where Joe was looking rough, man. He was looking rough. It's my own personal thing. I always said that Joe Perry is morphing into Keith Richards and Johnny Depp is morphing into Joe Perry. They kind of all look like a bunch of old pirates. I don't know why. They just do. They have that same kind of chains, and they all look like pirates last night. Look at the pictures. They're puffy shirts, and they look like a bunch of old pirates. I don't know what else to say, but pirates are cool, and Aerosmith is cool, and they sound great. There's not a ton to say other than this is a great show. If you're going to Vegas, it's a great show. Tickets are pricey, so my advice would be just try to wait till the last minute. They do come down. If not on Ticketmaster, they come down on the resale sites. I mean, dude, you're not going to get... It's so good. I mean, out of 10, I'm going to give him a 9.4. It's fucking Aerosmith. I would go see that show again any night. It is just... They're one of those bands. It's one of those shows. They play 90, maybe 87% of their hits. And listen, I don't know how these guys do it. I mean, they look like they got another 10, 20 years in them. I don't know how, but they do. They didn't look tired. They didn't look, he's maybe not moving around as much. I think if I remember years ago when I saw them during Dream On, I think Joe might have climbed on the piano, or maybe he did. Maybe I'm mixing up with Guns N' Roses, but it's not a big stage, so I can't, you know, for their age, you can't argue, you can't complain how much they're moving around. It's solid, man. It's solid. It's a good show. Go see it. There's not much more to say because they give you everything they want. So thanks for listening. Go see them. Subscribe, comment if you were at this show, if you've seen them before, if you're gonna go see them. I hope some of my advice about the tickets help. And that's it. I'll see you at the next show. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.